but he did say he was going to join this morning. Give it another moment. Okay, good morning, everybody. It is 11 February. I have 8:01 a.m. Christina, do you have the tape rolling?
It's recording, so you're good to go.
Recording? Okay, excellent. Thank you. Good morning. This is the Central Middle School Building Committee meeting, special meeting on 11 February. It's 8:02 a.m. Call the meeting to order. If you'll join me, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Christina, call roll, please.
Yep, sorry, I'm muted. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm working on one screen, so it's a little bit difficult today. All right, we have Joe Rossetti.
Present. Virtual present. By the way, this is an all virtual meeting.
You just took the words out of my mouth, Joe. Virtual meeting. The meeting will be posted with the video after this call as well. Claire Kilgallen is absent. Christina is virtual. Harry Fisher.
Present.
Thank you. Laura Costin.
Here, virtual.
Thanks. Tony Turner.
Tony's here.
And Josh Caspi.
Here.
And Todd is on virtual.
I'm here.
Thank you. And then Todd Clark, thank you. Dennis Yeski.
Here.
Dan Watson. Michael Kislick. Steph Cowie. How are you, Steph? I heard you too. Lauren Raven. Tom Healy. All right, Joe is back. Oh, I'm sorry. Rachel Coven. Susan Rudolph. Warren Silver.
And sorry.
All right, Joe, it's back over to you. Yes, Steph, was that you? Or was that Susan?
It was Steph, sorry.
Okay. All right, you are at 8 voting members, Joe.
Thank you, Christina. I know some people have a hard stop soon, so we're going to make the meeting pass quickly. Thank you. Just summarizing quickly, our goal this morning is we have two proposals, items number 3 and 4 on our agenda to discuss and potentially vote and approve. Item number 5 is an issue regards egress that came up with the building department and in the review of our building permit. We did have a meeting on Friday with the building department, Steve Martocchio from SLAM, a few others, and the meeting was a positive meeting, resulting in a slight change of approach with this issue, and we will not be taking action on this based on the meeting results. We will not be taking action on this morning based on the meeting on Friday. However, we will discuss it, and SLAM will present something at the end of the meeting here under item number 5. Having said that, I'm going to ask Peter Rader to briefly discuss or present item number 3, the stormwater prevention proposal.
Sure. Thanks, Joe. So good morning, everyone. We're seeking approval today for an ad service for Ty and Bond, who is our civil engineer, to perform the required SWIP inspections as part of the DEEP requirements. This is a weekly inspection, or depending on rainfall events, could be more often. And so it's a requirement of the project. It was an exclusion within the original SLAM contract in terms of the CA was, was always contemplated as an ad service. So we're coming today asking for approval of the base contract CA at 132,016 plus $5,000 reimbursable allowance for a total of $137.16. So I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has, Joe, before we move on to the next one. We have reviewed it and approved it, found it to be consistent with what we are expecting for a per visit allowance. That's how we should view this. As I mentioned, it's dependent on weather events and things in the field and making sure that drainage and silt fence and hay bales and site, stormwater, controlling the site is meeting the design and requirements. But I think Laura and then Joe, Kelly, you had questions?
I did. I see that, well, it's very small. I think you said $132, but it's 132,000.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 137,016 is what we're seeking approval for.
And
Pardon me.
how come it goes until post move in for is that because the fields will not be done until after the old building is demolished and then the fields relocated and leveled
Correct.
and all that? Okay.
Correct. That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Joe Kelly?
Thank you. I'm just a little fuzzy on just a couple of matters. We didn't budget for this, did we?
We had not. I think originally, as I mentioned, the SLAM had excluded their construction administration. I mean, it's how the RFP was originally written in terms of the tranches. So we will need to be utilizing some of our contingency for this exposure.
I'm good with
Joe.
that. I understand
Yeah.
if they made an exception. Shouldn't we have noticed that there was an exception made and maybe asked the question, why are they accepting or excluding themselves from a charge? Or maybe they should have told us that could be a charge. Or it seems to me, I guess, coming late into this this committee, that maybe there should have been some knowledge that we needed this. Where did we go wrong?
I think
Yeah, we didn't budget it. We never budgeted, sounds like.
That's right. I think our predecessor, and then when we took over this project, we didn't understand that this was not included within the base contract. And then looking at SLAM's contract with tie and bond, it was an exclusion. So, and again, per the RFP, I'm not sure why the RFP was written that way. This is sort of a standard requirement on any project. So it is, like I said, the cost is, Joe, I understand the frustration. I agree. And I think the cost is in a line. The budget can support it. But agreed that we should, it would have been better to have known about it sooner. So.
Well, I'll just go one more point. Sorry.
Yeah.
Certainly, if we were at budget or over budget and not under budget, this would make us certainly not look good being over budget, not having considered this as a potential cost. It's only great. We're saying it's only $130,000, but still, it's an oversight that hopefully we don't do again. Peter, you made it clear that you guys were not around for when this oversight was made, so there's nobody we could really.
Well, yeah, Joe, but we've been on the project a while too, right? And so I think across the board, I think we should have caught it sooner. So I'm not pushing off blame. I mean, thankfully, like you said, within the budget, we have to support this. It is a cost to the project. It would have been included, whether it was excluded from our A&E teams or it was included. It would have been nice to have known that it was coming down the road, and we could have forecasted it. So I think you're right, and I think we're wanting to make sure we don't have any future surprises, right? So,
Peter, thank you for your honesty. I'm good. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, Peter.
This is Todd. I move that we accept.
Okay, Todd's made a motion to approve this proposal for $137,016 for the SWIP inspection services. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Joe Kelly. Before we do take a vote on this, I will comment that yes, this is a very customary procedure requirement on a job of our size. It should have been in the normal course of our budget planning well in advance, long time ago, to be on the list for our soft costs. This would have been easily covered with our regular soft costs that we had prior to the additional savings we may have from our GMP buyout. So given that, and also perhaps the reason why it might have been excluded is frequently these services are purchased from a third party, not necessarily from the design consultant team. Nevertheless, we should have had it in our soft costs line item. Okay, we have a proposal to approve this proposal at 137,016 and a second from Todd and a motion from Todd and a second from Joe Kelly. Christina, could you call the vote?
Yeah. Joe Rossetti,
Yes for approve.
Christina Posha is a yes to approve. Harry Fisher,
Yes, approve.
you said yes to approve. I'm sorry, it cut out a little bit.
Yes, to approve.
Okay, thank you. Laura Costin,
Yes.
Tony Turner,
Yes.
Josh Caspi,
Yes.
Todd Clare,
Yes.
Joe Kelly.
Yes.
800, motion passes.
Very good. Thank you. Item number 4 in our agenda is the proposal for the geotech inspection monitoring services. Peter?
Great. So again, excluded from our A&E's team's original proposal. What I'll say relative to this, Ty and Bond is also our geotechnical engineer. As you all will recall, we have a fair amount of structural fill on this project, unsuitable soils, and then coming back with structural fill. That solution wasn't really, arrived until we got into design. So it'll say relative to this scope, excluded, but the scope wasn't defined until we got through partway through design. And so the level of effort here for what this entails then, and I give that context about the unsuitable soils, is that we will require our geotechnical engineer to be on site while Turner is excavating, looking at the soil, digging down to the design elevation, and then making the determination whether we need to keep digging or not based on their site observations on the soils that they're seeing in place. That is also augmented by our special inspections and compaction testing. That's all in an effort to make sure we're getting what's required per the design in terms of the bearing capacity on the soil. So very important, a scope that's again not defined until we got through partway through design, but also an exclusion within our construction administration. So now that we have definition on the scope, we're seeking 71,100 plus 5,000 in reimbursables for a total of $76,100. And happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Any discussion from anybody? Again, very customary, not customary, routine required inspections.
But this wasn't budgeted as a line item as well, or this is
That-
just more scope.
That's right, Todd. I think it was not budgeted as CA was an exclusion, but again, and I only bring that context about the actual solution because, you know, if we're having rammed aggregate piers or we're having, you know, suitable soils, it's a different scope, right? So.
Yeah, the learning lesson here, Peter and building committee is, yes, then our soft costs, we should have had a line item for something like this, whether it was 76,000 or 50,000 or whatever. We should have had a blank line item for it. And we can share that with other building committees, maybe Old Greenwich perhaps.
Agreed, Joe, especially if the town continues to execute contracts with the A&E team sort of in phases as they have. My experience in other projects, right, is you execute an agreement for the duration of the project. So I think releasing these our A&E team in packages is a little bit of a, you know, not what I see with other areas, but yep, Harry.
Isn't it 71,100 plus 10,000?
No, it's the 10,000 is split evenly between the SWIP, Harry, and then the 5,000 for our
Okay.
our
I
geotech.
read it differently. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I think there was maybe some slight confusion here in how we presented the terminology, but hopefully my explanation cleared it up.
So once again,
Todd-
this proposal
Todd
is for,
moves to approve.
I have a motion from Todd to approve this this geotech services for $76,100. Is there a
I'll
second?
second that. Harry Fisher seconds.
Thank you, Harry. Christina, could you call the vote for geotech services at $76,100?
Yes. Joe Rossetti,
Yes.
Christina Posh is a yes. Harry Fisher,
Yes.
Laura Costin,
Yes.
Tony Turner,
Yes.
Josh Caspi,
Yes.
Todd Clare,
Yes.
Joe Kelly.
Yes.
800 motion passes.
One, very good. These two services will kind of wrap up, I believe, all the requirements we have to assist or to help Turner continue with the foundations and work on site. Item number 5 on our agenda, please. A relatively brief discussion about our exit plan and where we are with the egress and review with the building official. I will comment that during our meeting on Friday, the building department added another item to our building permit requirements. That we previously had 39 issues that needed to be addressed. They added item number 40 to their list of things that need to be addressed. And that is I'll read it from the foundation permit. Provide resolution of egress requirement at vestibule 1102. An egress plan for the complete egress system of the building shall be submitted to and approved by this office prior to the issuance of the full building permit. So we're kind of at that point right now, and I'm gonna, if we can turn the screen over to Steve Martocchio just to kind of give us a brief overview of where we are with that, and perhaps maybe perhaps a solution that we might have to proceed with doors, but I'll let Steve comment on it briefly.
So the meeting went well on Friday. You know, there was a small group that attended that represented both your side, our side, and certainly everybody's interests. I think it was a good conversation. In terms of it was a conversation, it wasn't you're right, I'm wrong type thing, which was good. It's always good when you talk about code in that way. The 39 items that we originally were given for overall building permit, we've responded to those items and had questions for the building department. Spent an additional 45 minutes after the larger meeting with Peter Robinson directly to just sort of talk through about 9 items that we were looking for clarification on. So we took away that those 9 items, we needed to revise some of the answers in those 39 original questions. As it relates to the building overall egress plan, the things that the progress that's been made, the things that we've accepted, and the modifications that are going to happen. At this point, there's no more discussion about the additional egress out of the gymnasium that some of you have heard about. You know, the building department feels strongly that that's the approach that needs to happen. So SLAM is making the plan changes accordingly. So we'll be adding some doors, we'll be shifting pieces of the plan around in that area, the gymnasium, the locker rooms that it relates to. We're going to lose a little bit of storage within the gymnasium piece for gym equipment. And that's really the outfall of that required change by the building department. The rest of the conversation was largely about overall egress. And the back and forth was about the way we presented it originally in the documentation versus the way we were going to re-present it to them. As we talked about, you know, conceptually about building egress, we stressed over and over again that the entire floor has more than double the capacity required for the number of people that could potentially occupy this building all at one time. So what I mean by that is if you fully loaded the gymnasium, if you fully loaded the auditorium, if you fully loaded the cafeteria, all as assembly spaces, all with standing room only or seating within the auditorium, while the entire school is still functioning as a school, that equates to a lot of people. Maybe an unlikely scenario, but probably not an impossible scenario. So all those things are things that we tried to consider the first pass through. As we talked with the building officials and talked about how to represent that information, that's where the item number 40 came from, is really show us again the revised version of your life safety plan, your egress plan. And they asked us to add some additional information to that plan, including exit signage that we show in our electrical package. They're now asking us to add that to the life safety plan so they can sort of see it all in one spot. So we're making those accommodations. Our goal is to have those plans revised by end of business tomorrow and back to Turner to give back to the building department, sort of as our conduit of the project has been working. And then our, you know, the remaining 40 question responses will follow shortly thereafter. I think everybody left that room feeling like it was a good step forward, and there's probably another conversation once we submit all of that information just to close out the 40 items, as well as maybe review the information we've provided in the life safety plans to make sure the group is comfortable with the project approach.
Very good, Steve. Thank you.
And-
Any comments, questions?
Joe, just a comment we had with the team yesterday in our conversation with Turner and SLAM at our OAC. We were just talking about lessons learned in the past, right? And that we had, as everyone is aware, reviewed this previously with the town, and to some degree feel like we're, you know, this issue was raised in the 11th hour and we're having to address it. So the responses to these 40 items that Steve's talking about will be, you know, I think they're composing a letter. We'll have all of this responses documented to go back to the building department. Here's SLAM's responses, and we're looking to close these out and getting confirmation that they're satisfied with the response. Again, so that we don't have any lingering questions about things that potentially could remain open, or if there are further comments that are coming out after we receive those 40, we're addressing those in a systematic way. Just wanted to let the committee know that we're wanting to make sure we get absolute confirmation from the building department that we're satisfied with this, right? So.
Very good.
So they're going to issue a foundation permit, Joe?
The building, that foundation permit was issued during that meeting on Friday. We have it in hand. And you have it, it was, I believe it was, I think it was sent out to the committee just for information. Jose, was it? Well, I think it was sent out, right? I have a copy. I know that. I think it was in a packet. Anyway, we do have it in hand. Yes. Okay. Very good. Our next meeting is at 8 a.m. on the February 18th. That's next week. And then we'll be trying to move into our regular every 2 weeks versus every week meeting. Any questions or comments? Go
Joe,
ahead.
just one comment. Great job with you and the team in persuading the permit to be granted. So credit to you.
Well, it wasn't a persuasion. Yeah, thank you. There was no persuasion at all. But yeah, I think it was everybody trying to just get good discussions going on.
Take a
Okay.
pat on the back, Joe. Take the pat on the back.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Well done. You represented the team well.
Okay, and I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved, and thanks for running a quick meeting.
Thank you, Harry. I saw Laura Costin seconded. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned at 8:27. And Tim, if you could hang on, thanks.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Good day.
Yep. Bye. Joe, I don't know if you want to
Yeah, Joe, do you want
stop
us
the
on
recording.
or stop the recording? Yeah. I think Christina has to stop it.
Oh, Christina,